My name is Bautista, and I play Boyce. And Boyce is a hunter with a secret. He's kind of a free spirit. He's kind of a wild animal. He's kind of a womanizer. He's a gambler and a drinker, and he's a really fun character to play. And he's a cowboy, which is what really drew me to the character. I was already familiar with Paul's work, but I never kind of took a deep dive into his work. And so I really did, and I really loved his directing style, and he was such a visual director, and I kind of fell in love with that. And then there's the obvious that I wanted to work with Mila. Because I was a massive fan of Mila's for years and years and years. And actually, that was the first thing I said to her when we were shooting our first scene together. I was like, all I'm thinking about is I'm sitting here doing a film with Mila Jovovich. And she said, stop. And I said, no, I'm serious. This is so crazy to me. And then there was also the fact that I was a fan of Game of Thrones. And so this would be George R. R. Martin's first film, I believe. And that kind of excited me to I feel like that's kind of groundbreaking. And so I just, for a lot of different reasons, and there's more, that I just really wanted in. I really wanted this part. It's just funny because I think, Boyce he's, when you first meet him, he is a bit of a womanizer, but I think Boyce is really just having fun, but he also is really looking for his equal. And I think he finds that in Grey Alice, or what he thinks is his equal, and he becomes, I think, maybe even a little obsessed with that. And I think she, in turn, kind of develops feelings for him as well, because they're, I think they just have a connection. But there is always just, they're both a little sketchy. They're both hiding things. They both have a past. They're both a bit jaded. So there's always a little bit of them not trusting each other. I did put some thought into the character. He's layered. He's definitely different than any character I've ever played. But I am basing a lot of my performance off of, being a fan of this type of film, being a fan of spaghetti westerns. I'm kind of drawing from that, and obviously adding my own personal twist to it. But I think my preparation really was in me just being a fan. I know what Clint Eastwood was like in his movies, and I knew that Paul kind of wanted that feel for this character. I don't have issues with that. I've been in the sci-fi world before. I've done so much work with Marvel, and I've worked on so much green screen and blue screen, and I've acted with tennis balls, and I've acted with invisible people, and I've done all that. And I'm pretty good about using my imagination. So I didn't really struggle with that, everything, us not really having the surroundings. What makes it easier for me, though, is definitely having someone to interact with. And Mila's been such a great partner for me, because I've done most of my stuff with Mila, and she's just so easy to work with. I think we have kind of a natural chemistry, which is weird because I had not met Mila until we started filming. I met her for the first time when we, kind of started working together. And also, I have to say that Paul is making this really easy on me. I think he is a very stylized director. I think I don't want to put him in a category and say he's very much just a visual director, because he's not. But he is the first director who has ever made it a point to me, and has even said to me that I just want you to look sexy. I want you to look sexy here. I want you to look fierce here. I want you to look sexy here. It's important to me on how your coat flows. It's important to me how you look. I want you to look cool. So I've never had that before, because I've never, no one's ever treated me like, that guy, like that kind of leading man. So having said that, I don't want to make it seem like he doesn't really focus in on the performance, because he really does. And there's been certain notes he's given me, just simple notes here and there, have just changed my performance completely. And he's just very clear to me about what he wants. And I always appreciate a director. I don't like directors who, sit in Video Village and yell out direction to you, like over a microphone. I prefer a director to come out and have a conversation with me, and Paul always does that. If he has something to direct you, has notes to give, he comes out and he gives them to you personally, because that's the way you connect with people. That's the way you learn to trust people. And so when he takes the time to come out and speak to me and say, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you change this? It's like, absolutely I can. I want to give you what you want. I've never said that before, and I'm saying that now. I've had such a good experience working with Paul. there's certain things about certain directors, and I pick up on phrases that they say when they're really happy. And Paul's he yells out "bloody marvelous," and when I hear that, man, it puts a big smile on my face because I love to hear him so excited, and that validation as a performer, it means a lot. So when he gets excited, like those are my happiest moments on set. So it's not, I couldn't pick a particular bloody marvelous, but when Paul says bloody marvelous, it just makes my day.